She's tied up. You're on her car. You're on the straps around her hands, and you got DNA all over her clothing. I don't understand how that happened.
It all began on March 25th, 2009, when the body of 29-year-old Cheryl Cain was discovered in a dumpster with her wrists tied up with RCA cords behind an abandoned gas station on Highway 29 at Burgess Road in Pensacola, Florida. The DNA evidence on the RCA cords led police to Scott Thompson, a man who knew Cheryl through a mutual acquaintance.
What about this DVD player missing its power cords or connection cords?
Cheryl's autopsy showed violent neck injuries, indicating death from strangulation. And at this point, the detective wants only one thing: the truth. Will Scott give out his motive?
Right.
It's not like I'm remembering every single solitary detail.
Do you feel like I'm trying to trap you and stuff?
The body of 29-year-old Cheryl Cain was discovered on March 25, 2009. Her body was found by a maintenance worker in Cantonment, Florida. During the investigation, the cops found that 29-year-old Scott Thompson was the last person who spoke with Cheryl right before her disappearance. The autopsy revealed that Cheryl died of strangulation. As investigators delved deeper into the case, a trail of gruesome evidence resurfaced. This led them to bring in Scott for an interrogation that would ultimately expose the sinister motive.
Okay, what was the last time you saw Cheryl Cain? Friday. And you were talking about Friday of the week before last, because I was with you Friday. So, and she was found dead on Wednesday, the week before.
Yeah.
So, let's see, the 25th was Wednesday, 24th, 23rd, 22nd, 21st, 20th. So you're talking about Friday the 20th of March. That was the last time?
Yeah.
That was the last time you saw her physically?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and where were you at?
I was at my house.
Oh, right there on 9.5 Mile? Okay. I mean, on 9 Mile?
9 Mile.
Or your parents' house?
No, 9 Mile.
Okay, so she came by your little house there on 9 Mile.
Mm-hmm.
What was the circumstances?
She had gave me some money a couple of days before. I was supposed to be looking, find her some smoke, and just didn't round anything up, and she came back by to get her money.
Now by smoke
bucks.
you mean marijuana?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And it was $30?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so you didn't have any luck finding her any weed, so you gave her the $30 back.
Yes, sir.
Was anybody with her when she came by?
No, sir.
Okay. So she's by herself. What was she driving?
Her white car.
Okay. Okay. So she comes along in a white car, and you get the money back to her.
Mm-hmm.
How long is she over there?
Not long, maybe 2 or 3 minutes.
Okay, 2 or 3 minutes, and you
Just
remember what
getting
time
off
of the day?
work and, it was about 5:30.
And you knew that, what, because you were already off
Just
work?
getting off work.
So you had just gotten off work down home. She call you beforehand, set it up, or she just show up?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. So she called first.
Yeah.
When was the last time you actually spoke to her or communicated with her not in person?
Monday.
Monday, okay. And that's the last time you talked to her?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And she never came over that night?
No, sir.
Of course, yesterday I get over to your house because I get a call from the family saying Larry Spears has called them saying that he was over at your house
Mm-hmm.
and had found Cheryl's wallet
Mm-hmm.
in your room,
Yes, sir.
under your bed.
Mm-hmm.
And when I went over there and talked to you, you said that's where you placed it. Is that right?
Under the mattress.
Under the mattress, right. Well, under your bed, under the mattress, sorry. Yeah, between the box spring and the mattress.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. When I got there, Scott, Larry set the wallet on my car. And I collected it from him.
Mm-hmm.
And you were standing there when I did that, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You told me at that time that you had set it there for safekeeping, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. When did you find that wallet?
Thursday, Thursday or Friday. I'm trying to think when did you come over?
I came over
parents
to your
that
house
first time?
by Friday. Yeah, that Friday I came by.
Friday. It was Saturday.
Okay.
Next day.
So you found the wallet on Saturday. You remember what was the circumstances? Tell me how you found it.
I was packing up the rest of Larry's stuff. I mean,
Okay.
like I said, he'd already got his bed and some of his clothes. He left a basket and stuff in the dresser. And I mean, I was packing the rest of his stuff, putting it out there on the little sunroom.
Okay.
And I mean, just packing up everything. And then I saw that. And I think the only thing else there was like a hair clip.
Now, exactly where was it?
It was in the dresser.
In the dresser. Now, when you found this wallet, did you go through it?
I just unzipped it and seen that it was her ID.
Did you think that was important?
I thought it was just something that would need to hold on to.
Okay, so when I came over and I talked to you on Friday, and I said that I was, investigating the death of Cheryl,
Mm-hmm.
and then I was looking to talk to Larry, and could you assist me in contacting Larry and all that,
Mm-hmm.
You didn't think that finding the wallet in Larry's old bedroom was of importance?
I really didn't think of it at the time, like putting two and two together, like, that was her wallet. I just, because, I mean, she's had stuff there before, and, I mean, it really didn't click, like, oh, that was her wallet. I figured it, might have been like an old wallet or.
Okay. But you saw her driver's license in it and all that? Okay. She got her driver's license and all that stuff in there, and you didn't think it was important? Okay, and then for safekeeping, instead of calling me, you put it under your bed?
I just stuck it under my mattress. I didn't put it out with this stuff. I knew I was going to. I figured you'd be calling the next day or the day after.
Okay.
Scott's confessions already reveal a great deal of inconsistency. He claims that he spoke to Cheryl on March 22, 2009. But that is far from the truth. According to the phone records, Scott contacted Cheryl on the 23rd of March, 2009. This was the very day she was murdered. And that's not all. The dumpster in which Cheryl's body was discovered contained Scott's DNA. Moreover, this DNA was also discovered in Cheryl's vehicle, located at a Pensacola motel after her murder. The fact that Scott hid Cheryl's wallet under his mattress only adds to his sinister intentions. This is when the investigators begin to uncover the twisted lies about the phone call.
All right, let's see. So the last time you saw her was on that Friday, and she was getting back the $30 that she had fronted you, I guess, to pick her up a little bit of weed. Okay. And now you said that was about 5:30 in the evening. Correct. The last time you spoke to her was on Monday, and you said you had 3 phone calls, somewhere around 5:30, 6, 7 p.m., right in there.
Yeah.
And you had no more phone call contact with her after that.
Not that day.
Okay. And then you said after the 7 p.m. time, the next time you talk to her is on Tuesday, or you try to call her on Tuesday?
I called her Tuesday.
But you didn't actually get her on the phone?
No.
Okay. So she's not answering her phone on Tuesday, and I think that's pretty consistent with everybody. Nobody's being able to talk to her on Tuesday, so something happened that Monday night, I would guess. And you said the last time you talked to her was 7 p.m. Okay. And you said how many phone calls did you make to her?
I think 3.
3? Okay. And that seems to be adding up for the most part. What about 8 and 9 o'clock that night when you talked to her?
Was it that late?
Well, I have those 3 phone calls you talked about earlier. They're all right here in a row. Boom, boom, boom. Just about the times that you said. But then you talked to her for about 8 minutes, about 8:30.
Okay, that's when she called, or I talked to her the last time, when she said that, when she was talking about, what's his name? Tommy?
Well, I don't know, because we've kind of gone over it several times here. And I've asked you about the phone calls and how many number of phone calls and what times they were, and I was pretty specific, and I went back over it again to find out about it. But then we got 3 more phone calls later that night, after the time you said you last talked to her.
3?
So the last time, yeah. Well, the others are for 1 minute. So I don't know if they went through or not, but they're dialed.
Yeah.
You to her, her to you, in one 8-minute conversation.
Yeah.
Okay, you don't
Played
remember
phone
that?
tag a couple times.
Well, but I'm pretty specific, and you're saying after 7 o'clock. So what was that last phone call about?
That was about when she told me about Tommy, about saying something like he loved her and it weirded her out, and I told her that, you know, he was supposed to be trying to get some later, and
You don't think that's kind of peculiar?
no.
Let me lay it to you like this, okay? The last person that I can put her talking to that night is you, okay?
Mhm.
The last person while she's alive she talks to is you,
Mhm.
okay? The person that's found with her wallet and his house is you,
Mhm.
okay? Got some explaining to do about that. I need to understand how that is all coming to you. You know, I can tell you, at first I got to look at the boyfriend's hard, okay? But their stories are matching up. They remember phone calls. It's pretty important.
Oh,
You know, it's, you know, if I ask you questions about this, I mean, we realize the importance of this, the urgency. Somebody's dead,
Mhm.
okay? Somebody's no longer here with us. Their family wants answers, and everybody wants answers, okay? We've gone over this a number of times today, and I've asked you about the phone calls a couple of times. And I asked you specifically, and you tell me the last phone call was around 7 p.m., which is right on time. I mean, we got the phone calls. You said the 5:30, the 6, the 7. We got them right there, just like you said.
Well, I mean, I don't.
But it's just the later call. You know, it's the 8-minute conversation later in the night. It's quite a bit difference. Okay. Then we have the problem with, you know, the day before I'm over at your house, the day before you find this wallet, I'm over at your house.
Mhm.
I'm saying, hey, I need to get out. She's dead and I need to talk to Larry. Right?
Mhm.
It's important. You help me out. You call him up for me. Put me in contact with Larry. So I leave your house and I head over there.
Mhm.
When do you start packing his stuff up?
The next day.
The next day. Would you do it during the morning, evening, what?
It's done midday.
Midday? Okay. And
Wait, what day is this? 'Cause
Friday.
I mean, it's like a week ago, and I mean, I'm trying to remember. I mean, I know
Okay.
you try to confuse me, but
I'm not trying to confuse you. I want to
Talking
make
about
sure you're very
Thursday.
sure. Okay, Scott, I don't want you confused. I want you telling me what I'm after here is the truth. Okay?
trying to think,
Okay.
man.
Okay.
Maybe
Don't want you confused.
Call-
I want you telling me the truth. The problem
Call
I'm
them
seeing
and
here,
find
and just let me explain to you. The problem I'm seeing here
Mhm.
is I'm being very specific with you, and I'm wanting specific answers, and you're giving me specific answers, and then 5-10 minutes later, when we go back to it, and I tell you a new bit of information that shows, hey, you couldn't be telling me the correct information, then you're changing the story. So you've done that now on the wallet. You've done this now on the phone calls.
The way Scott places himself further under suspicion every time he makes an incoherent confession is a eureka moment for the detectives. Besides leveraging on Scott's obvious lack of honesty, the detectives have another major tool to trap Scott, and that is none other than Cheryl's family. According to Cheryl's family and relatives, Scott hid her wallet under the mattress of her ex-boyfriend, Larry Spears. Larry was Scott's roommate, so when the investigators questioned him about this, he claimed he was only keeping it safe. And that's just one piece to this entire puzzle. His sheer lack of remorse and complete indifference in body language make it clear that he won't tell the truth anytime soon. So now, the detectives are about to make use of hard-headed accusations to get a confession out of Scott.
The things you're showing me are deception, okay? You're not sure. You know why you're not sure? Because you're not, the truth slides right out. It's when you got falseness in there, you're trying to cover something up that you get confused. This is easy now, okay? I'm asking you specific questions. This is not like I'm talking to you about something that happened months ago.
I know.
This is Tuesday. We're asking you stuff that happened last week. You haven't even worked a full week since last week. Okay? I want you on page with me now, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So when I go over this stuff, I'm glad I hadn't started this thing. We're all screwed around now. Okay. Let's go back to the phone call conversations on Monday. You with me?
Yes.
On Monday.
Mm-hmm.
You said you talked to, well, the first time you said you talked to her 3 times. Last call being around 7 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
But now we remember these other phone calls later, right? Or at least a conversation
Well,
around 8:23 to be exact.
I talked to her 3 times, and I know we played phone tag like once. Where, she called me, I didn't answer, or I'd call her, she didn't answer.
Mm-hmm.
But I talked to her, actually physically talked to her, I think 3 times.
Okay. You're right on time with the other times. This 8:30 phone call.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about it. What was going on with that phone call?
That was the last phone call when she
Okay.
said, "Did you find anything? Were you able to find anything for me?"
Right.
I said, "No, it's going to be later on. He didn't have nothing right now." And that's when she said, "Well, I'm going to go drink a beer and go hang out. And, if you find anything, call me back." And that's when we talked about, I guess, the new guy she's kind of seeing, Tommy. And she said that he had said that like he loved her or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And she just said, it kind of freaked me out when he said that. And, it's kind of weird how he was saying he loved me. And that she was going to go have a beer. And, she goes out all the time. I don't ever go out and hang out or party.
Okay.
Nothing, but, she's a talker. She talks. And
Okay.
talks and talks.
Okay. So after you have this 8-minute conversation with her at 8:22 in the evening, okay, it ended at 8:22. It actually was started about 8:14, according to the phone records.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then at 9 o'clock, 9:04, 9:05, one call to and one call from you. Do you remember that?
Did I call her and
Yeah.
then she called me back?
Your phone. I'm not saying you called her, but your phone called her.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you call her? I don't want to confuse you, but
Well,
you just said you didn't talk to her again.
Talked to her a bunch that night.
Okay.
I'm not saying.
But you're telling me this 8-minute conversation, right? Okay. Pretty much you told her it was done there, but then y'all are both calling each other, what, less than an hour later? Okay.
I think, when I talked to her that last time, she was like, you sure you can't get nothing?
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I waited and called her and said, no. I really don't even remember if I got a hold of her that time. I think I called her, she didn't answer, and then she called me back.
Scott, am I not being specific? Am I not trying to, I'm not trying to trick you here.
People don't never, get a little confused or,
Scott, you've been confused the whole time you've been here. You've been confused the whole time you've been in here. I'm not trying to come down on you. It's just me and you in here talking.
I know. I
Okay.
understand.
But listen to me. I'm asking you questions about a murder. Somebody's dead. Okay. It's as serious as it gets. The pucker factor in here's got to be max 10. You couldn't be in more of a scary situation than talking about a murder with a homicide investigator. I understand that. Okay. But I'm putting your point on, and I'm asking you specific things, and I'm making sure, each time I get done asking you this question, are you sure? Are we right there? Okay? You told me this 8-minute conversation ended, you wouldn't have any more reason to call her, but I have both of you calling each other less than an hour later.
I talked to her before that. I must have talked to her maybe for 3, 4, 5 minutes. I don't know in my head, like, okay, this time I talked to her was the 8-minute, this was the 5-minute, this. I'm not trying to BS around or, I want to say that's the truth and I know for 100%, but I'm not sure.
That's why I'm asking you. What would be the reason to call her after that? You said the conversation was over. You pretty much had told her at that time that, wasn't going to be able to hook you up. That was it. And she gave you a little conversation about Cody, and she said, hey, call me if you do run across something. And you said, would you have any more, do you have any more reason to call her? You said no. Did you call any more? No. Are you sure? I'm sure.
The investigators are currently using the read technique. It's a method in which the detectives conduct a behavioral analysis of the suspect and use accusatory evidence to elicit a confession. Scott's calm and carefree attitude toward the murder warrants this technique of interrogation. However, despite feeling the pressure, Scott maintains enough composure to redirect the accusations toward Larry and Cheryl, as if doing so would absolve him of the crime. Fortunately, what the detectives do next will make Scott open up about the drug-related dispute that might hint at his actual motive.
That Monday, when you were on the phone with her and I had phone records of you talking to her, you were arranging some kind of deal for her to pick up a nickel bag or something with through Adam. You were going to get it from Adam to give to her, correct?
Yeah.
Did y'all argue at all?
No.
Okay. And no kind of arguments, anything like that?
No.
Okay. At that point, you said before that you had owed her a little bit of money, what, $30? Is that what? Let me look in here. $30, but that was on the previous Friday.
Yeah, that was
and
before.
And you got it to her.
And that, yeah.
Okay, so at that point, you didn't owe her any money, and she didn't owe you any money.
No.
Everybody's clean bill of health.
Yeah.
Okay. And did you that Friday? How did that go down? How did y'all meet each other?
The Friday, the last Friday.
The last time you saw her.
The last time I saw her.
Yeah. How did that go down again?
She just called and was like, was it able to go through or anything?
Right.
No.
Any kind of problems with that?
No.
She was not mad?
No.
You were not mad?
No.
Okay. So she comes over and she's alone, you said?
Mm-hmm.
And she is, collects her $30?
Mm-hmm.
No problems?
No problems.
Okay.
Like I said, I was off work for that week, I was off. I mean, it's not like I'm remembering exact days. I know when we did it, and what we did.
Well, I gave you a pretty good frame of reference as far as when you got rid of the dresser. It was only 4 days ago. This isn't like it's, months ago. And there was a pretty traumatic thing that happened. I mean, you found out that, this would have been the same day you found out that she was dead, that I came over and knocked on your door.
I was still off work when we moved the dresser. I know for a fact I was still off work.
Well, the day I came over to see you, you told me you worked that day. Did you work that Thursday?
That was the first day I went back to work, was Thursday.
And Wednesday the very next day when you're moving all this stuff, you said that's the day that you did it after work. Now, at first you told me it was during the day, and then you changed it to no, it was after work. I asked you, are you very sure?
No,
and I gave you an excellent frame of reference because I came and saw you about a murder. That to me would be a beacon in the sky. This, something you should remember for a while. Homicide investigator comes to my house, knocking on my door, wanting to talk to me about my murdered friend. I would think, it would be reasonable to me, and I think most people would say, hey, this is something I'm going to damn remember. Okay? And it was only 4 days ago. Okay? So, I gave you a good frame. I gave you a time, and I said, hey, are you sure? And we've gone over this a couple of times now, and you were pretty sure.
I understand, but
like I said, you're killing me here on changing your story, dude.
We've been doing some drugs. It's not like I'm remembering every single solitary detail, and if I say something that might have been a day off or a week off or
do you feel like I'm trying to trap you and stuff?
No, not really.
I'm trying to be as upfront and open with you as I can. And,
you're asking me if I tell you I don't exactly remember.
Well,
that's
why I'm saying. But that's why I'm saying, are you sure? And we're getting these reminders, and that's what you're telling me. I am sure.
And I really don't remember the exact days, but if I tell you that, you're still going to be like, well. That's the beacon. It's a good reference. It's only been a week or two, a week and a half. You ought to remember.
Right. Sure. I think a normal person can remember, especially with given a frame of reference. And you said, hey, look, I was off, but this is back to work time. This is when And there's a big difference between Monday when you're off and doing all this moving and Friday when you work all day and then you started afterwards. And that's where the confusion's hitting. Okay, so you're not getting confused about multiple days off. Hey, maybe if I had 4 days off in a row and something happened on the first or second day off and the third day off, maybe I could be confused. But you're going back to work. This is after a traumatic knowledge of finding out your friend's murdered. And a homicide investigator coming over to your house and taking, I went over to your parents' house and talked to you originally, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you agreed to come with me over to your house, right? Yeah. I mean, we had a long conversation. To me, that would be something sticking in my mind, a great frame of reference. The next day, you're telling me you go to work all day, and then when you get done, you move this furniture and stuff. Tasha's correct when she says, hey, I got this dresser from him on that Monday and mirror, and it was loaded up, and you sold this
DVD player,
black
TV.
guy, the DVD player, now a TV, and some kind of stereo booster on that day. That's all that Monday. And you have a conversation with Cheryl, and she overhears it. You remember that?
Yeah.
Okay. Her recollection of that conversation was an argument. You cussing that stupid. She thinks I owe her money. I don't owe her money. That's the gist of the conversation I'm getting from her.
It's almost comical when Scott claims he doesn't remember any of the details about Cheryl's disappearance. Scott is too clueless to realize that the investigators had already contacted the people he sold the TV and the DVD player to. And one of those people was Adam. So at this point, the detectives decide to hit Scott with the most obvious evidence to destroy Scott's denial.
I'm telling you, man, Tasha's must be talking to Larry, or Larry went over there and talked to her, and that sounds like a setup, because that never happened. I mean, I did not owe her money, and I don't know, I'm telling you, the only thing I can think of is Larry's talked to her and said something about the wallet, implementing me, and just trying to get them to go against me, because I don't know.
But everything else is lining up. I mean, the conversation's there.
Yeah.
They're talking about the black guy, which corroborates your story, the black guy. It's just the dates have been wrong. And you were telling me you're confused on the dates. So they have the correct dates.
I think are you sure you're not just trying to razzle me when she said that I called her a stupid this and that? And
no, this is my pad. It's all right on it. Cussing at her, he owed her money. You see that sentence right there? Have you seen me write any of this since we've been in here?
No.
Okay, that's what I wrote prior to coming in here. Interview,
ridiculous.
3:31 at 12:30 hours. Right now it is 1:34 hours. So I started that interview at 12:34 hours, ended it at 12:51. Oh, actually I started the recorded session at 12:51. So, I mean, I just came from here and that's my writing. You didn't see me write it anywhere else. Not making this stuff up, dude. I wasn't there.
I mean,
I'm just
I
only
can't
going by
believe
what
that.
I'm told.
I
Okay.
mean,
Okay. So, what about this DVD player missing its power cords or connection cords? That's not true. So when I do get this guy in here, Big or LB, he's not going to have an issue with that, right? We're absolutely sure of that.
yes.
Okay, great. The only thing that bothers me is every time I've said, are you absolutely sure of that? I come back 10 minutes later and
Adam
you're not
got the
absolutely
TV
sure of
and everything else. All I had was a DVD player left.
Okay.
And the DVD player, that other TV that was in the living room I was using at the time. And, I mean, I don't have any other cords or nothing. I mean, I don't know.
Okay.
Can't believe she said that I argued, and I just,
that
blows my mind, because I mean that.
Okay, well you hold that to yourself. But when I asked you about it, you said all the wires are there, correct? So, are you sure that all the wires are there for that DVD player?
I don't remember. I had the cord, I mean the plug that plugs it in wrapped around it, and I mean I really don't remember if there was any cords with it or not. I mean.
Okay. But you were sure of that before I took the break.
I'm telling you, man, I think Larry's talked to her and said something about cords or something, because she's too involved and saying too much stuff.
Well, I'm asking
that she
her
wouldn't know
specifically about that.
Okay.
And then she recalls, yeah, this was said.
I mean, don't know what else to say, man.
Well, I mean, you're sure one minute, you're not the next. A DVD player, for it to work, has to have some type of connections between it and the television.
I don't think there was any RCA jacks or anything.
Okay. You remember that word RCA jacks?
Yeah.
Okay. RCA jacks. No remote, but there was RCA jacks. Look right here, right. No remote, and then there's RCA jacks right here. You know why I wrote that? And that's what I wrote the first time when I left, before I went and talked to her. So this last little break, because you mentioned specifically the same word, RCA jacks, and so I wrote it down that way, because you said they were there. You know?
And you said, what are you talking about? And I said the two things.
Yeah, oh, I know, and you explained how it was. So you were very sure of them being there prior to my break. Now after talking to her, and after her telling me about this, now you're not sure. And now you're saying even further that you don't remember there being RCA jacks. When before this interview, you specifically said RCA jacks when I asked you if the cords were all there.
You haven't talked to him yet and asked him?
No, I haven't talked to him yet. I haven't talked to him. I just talked to her.
I don't know, man. I think you're tricking me now or trying to confuse me or something.
I'm trying not to trick you. I'm trying not to confuse you. Trust me, I don't want to confuse you. Hell, you've messed up every date I've had so far, right? Your DNA is on the steering wheel of her car. Your DNA is on the cord around her hands. And your DNA is touch DNA all over her person.
Yeah.
Okay? Her wallet's there in your house.
Good. You don't have my DNA.
I have your DNA.
You don't have nothing.
Okay. I have your DNA.
If this is one of those scare tactics, like the 8-hour interview.
See that report right there? FDLE report right there. This is about Cheryl Cain. Scott Thompson is included in DNA profile 37. It goes on and on and on like that. See your name? Exhibit Scott Thompson? Okay. No, this ain't no bull. And, you know, this is your opportunity here to tell me what led to this incident. It doesn't mean, you know, I don't know exactly what happened because obviously only you and her were there. But this isn't a question of whether or not you did it or not. This is a question of why you did it or not. If you don't want to talk, that's fine. You will obviously get your day in court to explain what happened. But if there's some mitigating circumstances, she attacked you, anything happened along those lines, I need to know about it now.
No.
Okay. So, we going to talk about this or no?
No, I don't. I mean, you don't have my DNA.
Okay.
I've never been in her car.
Okay. You've never been in her car?
Never been in her car.
Okay. And
I've ridden her car once, a long time ago.
Okay. Were you driving?
No.
Okay. Your DNA is included on her steering wheel.
There's no way.
Sorry. Your DNA is included on those power cords around her wrist. Now, I know we had this little thing about the DVD player that you gave to that guy, and, you know, I've gotten that DVD player, and he says you provide him with cords to it, so I don't know if these are different cords or what, but these 3-prong cords that will go into like a DVD player or something, your DNA's coming back on that, and all over the person. The only thing I figured, because there wasn't no fingerprints, is that you were sweating when you did this, and maybe your sweat dropped in there, or maybe you took your gloves off and thought you were cool just touching the clothing part and that you wouldn't get fingerprints on that. I don't know. But you're saying you never drove a car, you're coming back on a car, on the steering wheel. So if you've never been in a car, that's fine. But your DNA's in her car, and that's the problem. Your wallet ends up in your house, under your bed. Now, I know you said that Larry Spears must have put that there, or you found it in Larry Spears' thing. Larry Spears' phone records come back that he's in Alabama. His DNA ain't showing up anywhere on this. That's the problem. I don't have Larry Spears' DNA on her steering wheel. I don't have Larry Spears' DNA on the cords. I have yours.
Scott's facade of being forgetful has started to crumble. Detectives have now gathered testimonies from all of Scott's friends. On top of that, Scott's violent past and his possession of a controlled narcotic without prescription further supports his motive. It's evident that Scott owed money to Cheryl, which was the driving factor for this murder. And the fact that Scott's DNA was found on the RCA cords on Cheryl's wrists is the real icing on the cake. Considering the brutality of the murder, would Scott receive a life sentence? Scott Thompson was charged with second-degree homicide in July 2009, while being incarcerated for a narcotics probation violation in 2007. In late 2010, Scott was sentenced to life in prison. However, on April 27, 2023, Scott died at the age of 42 in the Blackwater Correctional Facility, to which he was assigned.